I'm going to start with 3 learnings that I'm taking away from Staffordshire 70.3. The first one being to keep at it, persevere and keep towing the line, even if things haven't gone well in the past. Secondly, apply what you've learned from those past experiences into the race that you're about to perform. And third, have the belief that you can do what you're setting out to do, and that whatever your goal is, you're able to achieve it, as long as you have the right kind of context and insight into what you're actually able to achieve. Race morning, we've got a 15-minute drive, so I thought I'd just do a little bit of an update. Slept okay, everything in preparation has gone a lot better than it has in the past few races, so that's good. A little bit of a stressful day yesterday, but all in all, not too bad. Em did a lot of driving yesterday, so big thank you to her. You'll notice that I have my seatbelt on properly this time. Thank you for pointing that out, Peter, in the last video. It is because I was trying to avoid the budge. But anyway, yeah, looking forward to today. The weather is looking like it's going to be very hot, so you know, UK climate, was expecting a little bit of a cooler race, not the case. So I'll do the best I can. I think I'll go pretty well. Swim hard, bike hard, run hard, and see where that lands me, basically. Relatively strong field, not that deep, like I said in the last video, so yeah, we'll just see what comes my way and deal with it at the time.
I think you'll go well. I think that this has been a lot more relaxed than your other races. You haven't had to travel, which is good. And you deserve to do well in all of the other ones. Like, especially San Marino, I think that was a real shitter. Although when we were driving along the bike course and I saw the like warning deer sign, I thought that would just be the icing on the cake, wouldn't it? If your race was scuppered by a deer. It would be classic. That would be an excuse no one saw coming.
Too easy. Double down.
No!
So expanding on those 3 little takeaways, I thought I'd just go into the highlights and kind of what happened in Staffordshire 70.3. In terms of keeping at it and persevering and keep showing up towing the line, I think this is a prime example of what can happen if you do keep putting yourself out there and having that belief. And I think that over the past like 3 or 4 races, obviously if you followed along on the journey, do check out those videos. They haven't gone necessarily to plan. Lanzarote, yeah, it went really well. I think I got everything out of myself on the day. But Marbella and San Marino, obviously I just left feeling as though I've just messed them up or left wanting more because of this, that and the other. I think that could have made me come back and just want to go back to training and be like, okay, you're not where you want to be or where you think you should be at. Go back, reassess, train some more, and then like start the season again a bit later. Again, if you keep towing the line, you never know what opportunities are gonna kind of arise, and this is a prime example. Obviously I was able to put together a great race for myself and do what I set out to do. So how did I apply my learnings from past experiences? Obviously I tried to really prep the day before, make sure that I wasn't too stressed and things had gone well. I was relatively relaxed on the morning of. I got there with plenty of time. I was well hydrated, thank God, even though it had been really hot the day before. I didn't go out too hard in the swim. I went solid, managed to get into the lead, and I think James Teagle and maybe Tom Davis were in and around me at the time. They started next to me, and eventually found myself without anyone around me, just on my own, with Tom Davis on my feet, which was great because halfway through the swim he came round me and I was able to sit on his feet, and we were holding a really good pace, so thank you, Tom. But yeah, no, it was great to have that lead coming out of the water then. We'd broken away from the rest of the field. I think we had maybe 50 seconds on 3rd place. which is a really nice healthy gap. It means that you don't have to stress too much coming into T2.
50 seconds, there's 2 behind, 50 seconds.
So again, applying what I'd learned from other races. In Marbella, one of my bottles bounced out. The start of the ride was really, really bumpy, going over some really violent speed bumps and potholes. So I'd strapped my bottles in. I'd also got a different hydration solution on the front end of my bike using the Trek BTA bottle, so between the arm bottle, and a smaller bottle on top of that with the big one on the back. So it worked really well. I strapped them down with elastic bands as well, so nothing got lost, thank God. And yeah, got into the bike, didn't go out too hard, but just managed to stay with Tom for the first like 10 minutes or so before we got into the itty bitty lanes. Again, didn't want to take any risks there, so kind of cruised through those lanes because I knew after about 15k it would open up and I could get my head down and just go for it, which is what I did. And I managed to actually pull a gap on everyone. So in the lanes I managed to get rid of Tom. I think he dropped back into the next group, and then as soon as I got out into the open roads, I got my head down. I felt really quick. I felt like I was in a really good aero position. I was able to put down the power that I'd intended on putting down. I stuck to that power like glue. And to be honest, I thought to myself, if people can catch me, I feel like I'm going really quick, I'm pushing some really good power. If they can catch me, fair play, because I know I had a minute or so out of the water, but not only that, I felt like I was riding really well. And that was the case, fortunately. So I had no idea where anyone was throughout the whole bike. I was not getting any time gaps whatsoever, but every now and again there'd be a really long straight road and I'd try and look back and check where people might be. There was no sign of them. So I kept on going, I kept on riding scared. And yeah, I think that again, applying what I'd learned from past experience in Marbella, I buttoned off quite a bit and just rode really controlled on the first part of that ride, whereas they just cruised up to me and I was like, what the hell? So this time I pushed the hills a little bit harder and eased back on the descents, but still like pushed pretty solid power. So I think it was like maybe 300 on the descents and then 350 to 400 on the hills, so that I was keeping a really nice high pace, which was really important to like kind of keep the gap and actually extend it. So I think I pushed the gap out to about 3 minutes over second place James Teagle, and he was really kind. He said at the end that he was pushing really, really hard and was shocked that he wasn't closing the gap at all. So yeah, that was really satisfying to kind of put together a good bike, and not a bike that I thought I was overstretching myself at all. I think that I got onto the run with really good run legs, to be honest, and I was well hydrated from the bike. I think I flew well on the bike, which I hadn't done like in some of the other races. So
You're about 3 minutes ahead. 3 minutes ahead, Josh.
throughout that bike and the run, I had to just believe that I could do it. And this comes into that third point that I was talking about. I had the belief that what I was doing was going to be good enough to get me that podium position. And this doesn't matter what your goal is, like whatever your goal is, you've got to have the belief that you can do it. And obviously the context of, am I able to? Is this physically possible? And I think I had a very good understanding of the watts that I was able to push out on the bike, but also the speed that I was able to maintain on the run and the effort that that would kind of take out of me. So I set off at like a decent pace, but not something that I didn't think was sustainable. And then kind of as the weather heated up throughout the run, so like literally an hour 18, whatever it took for me to do the half marathon, by the last 5k it was cooking. And obviously, if you know from the previous races, I don't cope well in the heat. So there was a bit of a race between finishing before it got too hot and cooking myself in terms of pace. But no, I had a good idea that that was roughly the pace that I was able to maintain. If people could run 4 minutes into me, so run a 1:14 on a relatively atrocious course as well, so there was some decent hills in there, then, you know, I just wasn't good enough on the day. And Teagle was able to do that. He ran about a 1:14, just under maybe, but the others weren't, and I managed to hold them off, and I'm absolutely buzzing that I was able to get my first pro podium and second place, and yeah. I couldn't believe it. I was a bit overwhelmed, like, on the finish line. Didn't really know what to do, how to act. When I saw M, I kind of like started tearing up, because it's like, I think for me, I'm beating the drum and trying to achieve these goals, but when I'm falling short, it's not just me, right? Like, it's everyone on my team. Not that I feel like I'm letting down, because obviously I'm putting in the work and the effort's there and like the belief is there, and I think that I'm showing promise. But to stitch it all together means that I've not just been like flogging a dead horse or anything like that. It's like reaffirming my belief that I can do it. Like the things that I think I'm able to do, I am able to do. And don't get me wrong, I'm not deluded, and I know that this field wasn't as strong as the fields that I've been racing in Marbella, Samarin and Lanzarote. I know that. But it's one of my proudest performances, because I kind of took the bull by the horns. I was at the front of the race from the beginning. I really sent it. Like, I was out front pretty much all day, and I believed that that was going to be enough to do what I wanted to do. So yeah, like, I couldn't be prouder of how I executed the race, how I went about it, and then, yeah, the result that came off of the back of that. So yeah, I'll go into a little bit more about world qualification in the next video, so do be sure to hit subscribe and yeah, follow the journey, hit the bell icon, maybe even like this video. But yeah, no, I think I'm really chuffed, I'm really pleased, and I think it says a lot, well, for me, but also my team and you guys watching this, so thank you for following the journey. Hopefully I've got a lot more to come. Like, I think, yeah, first pro podium, like, you've got to do that first before winning, I think. You can't just go ahead and win. That's not really how it works. So yeah, it's one step in the right direction, or two steps in the right direction, and yeah, onwards.
On the run, he was running out of transition as I was coming in. Yeah, he pushed really hard today. Really tough racing, and yeah, really deserved second. But yeah, great racing from him.
And did you long day? So mean.
Happy tears.
Happy tears.